Welcome everyone. Here we go. You see the hat, you know what's coming. Here we are at the 4th Global Empowerment Summit, which we are coming together globally to empower you so that you can empower others. Today and this year, the topic overall is diversity, the power of diversity, and how it can create positive change in your life and in business. And this is the exact first panel of the whole summit. So the ladies coming up very soon, they will be opening the summit for you. Today, the program is quite packed. We are starting 10 a.m. and then we are here until 11:30 p.m. if you are sticking with us. This time I put some breaks, so don't worry, you will have your lunch and your evening supper. And we will meet again in the networking in the evening. So we packed so many things for you, from networking games, from 36 sessions, panel discussions, small and big, and almost 100 speakers on board. So I'm really excited, and the ladies will today speak about something very close to my heart and also every day affecting you. It will be about content from a diverse perspective. So I will be slowly bringing up the speakers. The first speaker coming up is Kiranjit Kaur, who will be actually leading this session. So let's welcome Kiran on the stage. Here you go. Welcome, Kiranjit. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm fine. A very good morning to everyone here.
So nice to have you in this session and opening the summit with you together as also the GES team member. It's kind of an honor. So thank you so much for accepting again the invitation and being here and bringing your friends.
Thank you for the invitation to be a part of this wonderful summit.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So I'm bringing up the next speaker, who is also part of the team. Betty is coming up, and Betty is someone who you also may have seen in the last 3 summits. This is the 4th year that we are doing it, so slowly bringing up Betty. Hi, Betty. How are you today?
Hi, Andrea. Hi, Kiran. I am great. I'm feeling great to be with all of you.
So nice to have you here.
Yes.
Very excited, very excited. You are opening the whole summit, so this is kind of a very nice position to be in.
Good.
And here we go. Our third guest is Asma Abdullah. I will also bring up Asma. Hi, Asma. How are you today?
Hi. Good to hear from you. Yes. Looking forward to our discussion.
Perfect. And I will show you the topic today. So today we will be speaking about inclusive content for diverse audiences, the reader's perspective. And what is this exactly? That will be explained by the leader of today's panel discussion, Kiranjit. So she will tell you the perspective and how you need to connect with this topic throughout the next 25 to 30 minutes. So I will give the stage to Kiran and the ladies, Betty and Asma. Have a beautiful time. Enjoy the conversation. And also for the audience, if you have questions, you just have to write it in the comments, and the ladies will come back to you with some answers in the chat. Thank you so much, guys. Kiran, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you very much. I would love to begin this session with just a short introduction of all three of ours. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Kiranjit Kaur. I've been an academic for the last 38 years at University Teknologi Mara, a premier university in Malaysia. And I'm now a trainer, a coach, a consultant in public relations management, as well as ethical leadership communication. And more recently, I have gone into the crucial realm of social aspects within environment, social, and governance, or ESG for enterprises. This is now my focus on my training as well. So now I'd like to invite, I'd like to invite Asma to introduce herself.
Hey everybody, my name is Asma. My background is in culture, and like Kiranjit, I'm also a trainer, a coach, and also, I guess, a writer. I have been involved in the area of cross-cultural management. That's where I work in the area of diversity and do some coaching and mentoring for women in leadership positions. Thank you.
Thank you, Asma. Betty, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you so much, Kiran. My name is Betty Kwan. I have been with an international leading insurer for 44 years, working in various leading positions and leading various departments. And before I retired 5 years ago as a senior manager for operations, I am now very actively involved in my family business involving in cleaning for domestic as well as commercial cleaning. And I always strive to develop human capital through training, leadership, and community building. I am also very active in my Toastmaster fraternity for the past 9 years, and currently the area director in District 51. And I'm also involved in our association, Malaysian Association of Professional Secretaries and Administrators, currently the vice president. And I am very passionate about continuous learning, and I stick my motto for my 4 P's for success: persistence, perseverance, passion, and perfection. And I strongly believe no one is unteachable. So I'm always very keen to mentor whoever that comes to me, especially in the Toastmaster fraternity. Back to you, Kiran.
Thank you, Betty. Thank you. So, welcome again to all our audience, to our listeners this morning. The norm is always about, when we talk about inclusive content, we're always talking about the content creators. We're always talking about how are the content creators ensuring there is inclusive content for the diverse audiences that we have. So always the question is, are they taking care of the demographics, the preferences of the target audiences? Are they using language that is not offensive, that is gender neutral, that is culturally sensitive and appropriate? Are they representing diversity? Are they, ensuring that there is accessibility to the different audiences? For example, even including aspects like font. You're talking about even accessibility in the terms of font. Can you put it up on television? Can people read the font? People who are partially blind. What about sign language? Do you include it? So there are all these various factors, and of course, cultural sensitivity is very, very important. So, what kind of interviews the content creators bring in? Do they bring in a variety of voices and perspectives? So, this whole area of content creation on inclusivity and ensuring inclusivity for our audiences. But today we will take a different take. We want to have a conversation as audiences. We want to be the reader, we want to be the viewer, we want to be the person who is being exposed to this content and what there is out there in the media, whether it is the traditional media, whether it is the online media, the social media. What kind of inclusivity does it mean for us? So let's talk about some of the points, Asma and Betty. First one is about exclusive, being exclusive in content. That means there's exclusion. When you're being a very exclusive with your references, you're being very exclusive about the kind of content and the context that you're giving, it will mean that you are actually excluding some people. So let's talk about exclusion and alienation. How can you think about any situation where you felt disengaged, you felt a sense of disconnection because the content somehow was not within your context? Anything from you, Asma?
Yeah, I think you raised a very good point, Kiran, because I think whenever we are speaking or writing, we need to understand the context, where people are coming from. So I believe if you are giving a speech, you need to know the audience. And then if you are writing, you also need to know the readers. And I find that based on my studies in culture, I would like to think that whoever is presenting will look at the cultural dimensions. You know, people who are different from you. And a lot of times when I read articles, I would always look at whether people are addressing differences, because diversity, I think, is very important in our global connected technological digital world. You know, we are reaching out to people of different colors and creed. So if we are speaking to all these people that we don't know, we cannot see, we really have to be, I guess, empathetic. Yeah, empathetic about their wanting to listen to us. So what are their needs?
Thank you, Asma. Yes. And taking on from what Asma said about the cultural sensitivities, Betty, what about you? Can you remember or recall any situation where you felt that you were being excluded from some story? Can even be a piece of news that was going on right now, and you felt excluded, you felt alienated and you felt so disconnected because you didn't understand what was going on.
Yes, yes, I fully agree as what Asma had highlighted. Because when someone is addressing the issue, and if within the audience, you will feel so way out, especially when they are talking about races, they're talking about religion. You know, these are items which are very sensitive to the audience. So we have got to be very sensitive, especially when the speaker is delivering. So if the speaker is very open-minded and do not talk about all these issues that will injure the feelings of the audience, so the mindfulness is very important for the speaker to address. So these are issues that we want the whole audience to get connected, not to be separated, because people will, especially so when subjects are not uh, too sensitively handled, they may even walk out of the room. And this is the sign of being rejected. So that's why it's very important the speaker in any audience, even the writer, they have got to really put the whole perspective in place, especially so when you are having the audience of all multicultural, multi-races involved in the audience. Okay.
Thank you, Betty. Yes, I agree, because I think the sense of disconnection is going to only result in the failure of whoever is putting out the message to be understood clearly. You know, we do not engage. If you do not engage with the content and if you do not engage with the message, that means the content creator has failed in reaching out to us. Yes. And so that takes us to the second point of limited perspectives. One of the things we talk about, you know, inclusion from a reader's perspective or from the audience perspective, it means that we should have a perspective that is broader, that does not reinforce stereotypes, that does not just only have biased viewpoints. We want a more comprehensive understanding of the diverse perspectives, cultures, experiences. And I think this is very important. And that is why when we talk about even stories that are put out there, we talk about, you know, investigative journalism, for example. We are, as a reader, we want something that has depth, not something that is shallow, because that is limited perspective. What is your thought about that, Asma?
Yeah, I believe that whenever we talk about an issue, there has to be two levels of understanding. You know, I guess we can use the metaphor of the iceberg. You know, you can address things that you can see, but I think more important is for you to go deeper into the level that is not obvious. Yeah, and I believe in any engaging conversation or presentation, I think we need to address these two levels. It cannot be just at the level of superficiality, you know, just the surface level. And I think if we are addressing an issue, we have to deep dive. But of course, again, it depends on the audience that we have, you know. So we have to study what is it or what are their expectations. So it's no point for us to deep dive if the audience are not very interested. They all just
Right.
want to address the superficiality of the issue. So I
Yeah,
think that's
right.
when you need to study your audience also. Yeah.
Yes. So, as an audience ourselves, one of the things that has been in the limelight recently is how the Malaysian society is aging, and how we are going to be an aged society in a decade or so. We'll be an aged society. So, if you talk to people about senior citizens, and you talk about to people about issues and health issues, economic issues, social issues about senior citizens, unless there is a senior citizen in your house and you're actually going through that experience with the senior citizens, or you yourself are a senior citizen, it's hard for the others to really grapple with what are the real issues that they need to be concerned about, that maybe they also need to think about for themselves as they are aging. And so this whole issue about how has our media been handling this issue, how has it been managing it, how has it been putting it out, how much misunderstanding are we receiving, how much stereotyping are we receiving, in the kinds of views that are being put out about the senior citizens, how balanced or accurate are these views? Betty, would you like to say something about this?
Yes, the issue on senior citizen. Now, these days, when you go around in any gathering or any meeting, in the audience, you will see a lot of mix in ages, the demographic. So you will see the senior citizens these days, because of the technology advancement, the senior citizens are always embarking on continuous learning. So now, as we are advancing towards the technological age, the senior citizens are really embarking in continuous learning, and they would want to catch up with the youngsters. So you will see that unless you are withdrawing yourself, especially people like me in the senior citizen age, for as long as we are passionate in our continuous learning, we should not be fearful about being dropped out or being considered, oh, you are old, so you should be stepping out. No. So I will always take it that senior citizen, through the experience and knowledge we have, we can always outshine the younger ones. So this is what I always believe. Senior citizen, you should not retreat yourself, but move forward to be with the young ones and learn together.
And maybe the senior citizens can also start contributing to the content, right, Asma?
Yes.
So that we can educate those who lack that experience, so they get that perspective in. So
Yes.
there's no missed opportunity for learning, because that's one of the points about if you don't have inclusive content, it really means there's also a missed opportunity for learning for the reader and for the audience. They don't understand what is going on. They become unaware of important issues related to it. And another aspect that has come up about, as a reader or as an audience, then when we do not have inclusive content we are not exposed to inclusive content, it can impact on our mental health. Constant exposure to content that does not acknowledge or respect our identity, that does not make us feel that we are part of the system, gives us that feelings of isolation, frustration, and even self-doubt. So this can be something that we should also consider about. That's something that we can consider when we are, or whoever's putting out the content should be aware of, from what the readers or the audience is feeling. Asma, do you have anything to elaborate on this, on mental health impact?
I suppose we are talking about service delivery, and certainly like what Betty said, some places that we go, we have to learn a new routine on how to even order food at the cafe, at the restaurant. And I think this is where I find that if you are a service provider, and you are servicing maybe senior citizens, you got to be very careful about what is it that they may not be able to do. Yeah, and I tend to think that sometimes when you are in the service industry, you don't really put yourself in the shoes of the customers. And this is where I find that as we become an aging society, I think our youngsters who are in the service business, service delivery business, have to be mindful, that you are serving a category of customers that may need more help. Yeah, because of the technology that we are using, and that may make it very difficult for senior citizens to use. Yeah.
So now we have moved on to technology as part of being inclusive. I think that's wonderful because it's true. And if you
Yeah,
cannot use the technology, you're missing out on the whole content. You can't even
exactly.
order from a menu
Exactly.
when you have to use a
Exactly.
QR code instead of having a
Exactly.
printed menu, right?
Yeah, it
Yes,
become
I
very
yes,
agree
stressful.
with you.
Very stressful. Yeah.
yes,
Yes. And that itself can also be mental health.
Exactly.
So,
So you
exactly.
don't want to go, out and you order food.
it's so true. And it's also very important that when there is a lack of inclusivity in in content that is put out, it actually also means in a way a loss of credibility, because as an audience, how much can we believe what is going out there if we
Yeah,
feel that the content is not inclusive? Then we begin to also lose we begin to, or rather that media begins to lose credibility, because two sides of a story are not told, our identities are not addressed or referenced to, right? So there are all those various issues involved. I would like to bring you to a very interesting question that someone once asked me. There is this whole new wave for women especially use he she as a gender, right?
Mm.
And I'm just talking about, because you're talking about being inclusive in terms of also gender, and there's the he and the she, and now we have the he she. I just wonder, how do you see that as an aspect when you talk about inclusivity in content that is put out for the gender of he, she? Any comments from either of you? Betty?
I would think that if it is you're talking about, for example, service, just now Asma was mentioning in the service industry, there is the he, she being addressed. You do not even bother whether it is a group of the he or a group of the she. You are talking about the population or the community in general. So this is something that we all have to accept. When they are addressing the he, she, whether you are a guy or a lady, you are within that confine. Because as far as inclusivity is concerned, we have got to be very sensitive. So when we are talking about applicable to all uh, the sex, he or she. So it is for us to adapt and to adopt. So I look at it in that perspective. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, thank you. And Asma, any
Yeah,
thoughts from you?
I'm not quite sure whether I'm comfortable with those labels, because I find that diversity is defined differently across cultures. So I think we need to come to some understanding. What is it that we are concerned, especially on issues relating to diversity, whether the vocabulary is right, whether the vocabulary that is defined in a one culture is applicable in another, or is suitable in another. So this thing about pronouns, right? He, she, and all that, could be only for a certain group of a certain community, right? That we're talking about. But to make it the language of the people of the country, I think we need to come to some understanding about what actually does that mean. You know, yeah, so that's my opinion.
Yes,
Kiran,
I,
if I may add, you talk about diversity, it creates an ecosystem to me, because that ecosystem will foster the creativity and help to bring together the different perspective and the ideas. So it doesn't matter whether you are being referred he or she, but because in our diverse culture, we produce a unique idea, the output and the strategy. So for as long as you are being put into it, you will accept it, then you will just be fine.
Yeah, but it is a
Okay?
new vocabulary, right? I mean,
Yes,
it's
yeah.
a new
The he
vocabulary
she
that
is where they don't want to be known as a he or a she, I guess.
yes,
They want
yes,
to be
yeah,
gender neutral language so that there is more inclusiveness. Maybe there is that one group of,
yeah,
one thought that is out there, one perspective on
yes,
trying to achieve gender neutral language. But I
yes,
like that part about you brought up, Betty, about creativity. Because inclusivity, if we are more vigilant about inclusive content, we will be more creative because we will creatively look to write, to post, to produce content, right?
yes,
That
yes,
will be very, inclusive for everyone, include everyone, engage everyone, and
correct.
ensure there is no disconnection. So, if we can just maybe wrap up this session very quickly, we're running out of time here. So, non inclusive content, I think if I can summarize it here, it results in emotional and cognitive dissonance, which is what we have discussed. It limits our ability to connect with the material that is put out there, and potentially it can even can be harmful to our overall well being, our mental health. If we feel we are being excluded all the time, as you mentioned, could be racial, could be religious, could be, even by gender. If your face is missing, if the woman is missing in sports news, for example, which was, of course, something from before, then there is like women are unimportant in sports, or sports is unimportant to women, which we know is not true. You know, like football is very masculine as a game for us. Maybe not in Australia where they were strong, or in Europe where there's strong female football teams. We are just growing ours, but that's that whole missing face of the woman, and that in itself is a lack of inclusiveness, because it's missing, it's not there, so you don't feel that it's part of you. And of course, if we focus more on inclusive content, then we are fostering a sense of belonging. It encourages our learning. It contributes to a more positive and enriching experience for all of us. We feel more engaged. We feel that we understand better the context of whatever information or news or messaging that is being put out there. And it helps us to make more informed decisions if we are aware of what is going on. So I think that is the whole idea of being very much more vigilant about inclusive content for diverse audiences, which is what today's topic is about. I see Andrea here. Is there any last word from anyone? Otherwise, we'll hand it over to Andrea. We're very happy with our session that we've managed to explore different aspects of inclusive content for diverse audiences from a reader's perspective. Andrea, over to you.
We can't hear.
And of course,
Betty?
I invite the audience. I invite our audiences out there to give comments to us. And if they have any questions, we will be happy to address them.
Thank you so much for the session. And I just wanted to ask Asma and Betty whether you have any other kind of summarizing perspective on the topic. But as we are very, very close on the timing, I will have to wrap up myself. So thank you so much for being here. I really enjoyed the conversation. It was very disruptive, and you touched the things that I believe that it will influence and inspire other people just as they are listening to it. And I'm really looking forward to see more comments and everyone joining the conversation. So please, guys, if you have any questions, put it in the comments. I also invite you to add your own perspectives, insights, hear everything, whatever you would like to ask, please do. We are a diverse, accepting, inclusive community, so we are welcoming everyone to share their thoughts. And thank you so much, ladies, for being here and for doing this amazing session. And I will be seeing you soon again at the community. But until then, thank you so much for opening the Global Empowerment Summit, the fourth one about diversity.
Thank you,
Okay.
Andrea.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And thank you, Asma.
Thank you, Asma.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Good session. Right.
Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye. So this was our first ever session this year. I'm really happy. I hope you saw what we are getting into here. A lot of open insights and open mindset, heart-centered perspective and approach. So we would like you also to join us in not judging, but being curious about what you hear during this weekend, and make some notes and think about it, what kind of feelings it's bringing up in you, and what are the things that are coming into your mind after this session. And then make sure that you are joining us in the networking session tonight, because every single day during the summit, we will have a networking session, an experience, where we partnered up with Shiv, our very good friend, who will be doing a gamified session for us. So during the day, you are at the sessions, we are connecting questions, collecting them in one nice survey, and at the end, in the networking session, it becomes a game, and we will have a leaderboard, and you can win valuable prizes if you are here with us throughout the 3 days, and if you are attending the networking sessions that are closing the day. So thank you so much, guys, for being here. This is the first session. Welcome officially at the Global Empowerment Summit, the fourth one, where we are exploring how diversity can create positive change in life and in business. So thank you so much, guys. I will be saying goodbye, and I will be seeing you later on in another session starting in a few minutes, bringing up another person. So see you guys. Thank you so much for being here.